Hiya, Sam here from Teach the World to Trade. This is your unit recap for Unit 2, which was Identify a Trade. So it's the first part of the trade process. I hope you remember and recap a bit of it yourself through going through these slides. I'm also going to send out the recording for our session as well. So without further ado, let's move on to a quick recap of what we covered. So the recap for Unit 2. We covered the first part of the trade process, identify a trade. Very important to have this process because it keeps us accountable for what we're doing as traders. We have identify a trade, we're going to cover execute a trade, manage a trade, and evaluate a trade. Each part of that process as important as the last. So first of all, we've got to identify a trade though, which involves choosing a market. So you've got to find out, we spoke a bit about what interests you. The markets that we're going to cover most of this course. We're going to look at stock markets, currency market, bond markets, food commodities, sugar, coffee, cocoa, wheat, energies like oil and natural gas. We're going to look at cryptocurrencies, potentially Bitcoin, maybe Ethereum, the big two. So it's kind of finding what interests you, which is then going to compel you, that curiosity, to then find out why these markets are moving, where they're going to move next, right? Identifying that trade. So there's that, what interests you versus what is trading well. So we speak about putting our process on certain markets, and if the process is working, how we're selecting trades using the methods that we're going to discuss. If these markets are working well, then those are the markets we'll gravitate to. This is why we've got this Discord channel where we can all speak to each other about the markets, and eventually as the months and your experience grows, then hopefully you'll be telling me which markets are trading well and giving me trade signals. Likewise, I'll be pushing them to you. So it's what interests you versus what's trading well. We looked a lot at technical analysis. This for me is the best way to view a market, understand where it's been, where it is now, where it's going in the future. It's a lot of data that, with the candlesticks, very important to understand all the 4 price points in a candlestick, the highs, the lows, the open and the close that each candlestick represents, bullish and bearish. And there's a lot of terminology we used, and then we're drip feeding in workshop by workshop. Using those candlesticks to then try and ascertain the direction of the market. Where, is there a direction? Is there a momentum trade that we need to get on? Or is there going to be a change in the direction of the market? And then do we do a counter trend and we go against it? Generally, all trades are either you're going with the market or going against it, right? It's very black and white. So yeah, using technical analysis, I'm going to do a whole extra video on technical analysis and how I use it myself and how it gets me to have an idea of where a market's going to be going and identifying those trades. So key terms like momentum trading, breakout trading, going with the market, counter trend trading, bullish, bearish, looking at those pivot lines and those support and resistant lines, very important. But like I say, technical analysis, we'll be using it every week, and it is the best way for you to enter a market and find those trades that you want to put on. We spoke about fundamental analysis. This is like the news flow, so any news that can be affecting or any information that can be affecting the supply and demand of an asset. Or we spoke about those gauges in economies, the inflation, employment, and GDP. They're your big 3. That's kind of like your scorecard for how an economy is doing. The better your economy is doing based on all of the things, you're going to have your asset classes like your stock market are going to go up, your currencies are going to go up, and if you're not doing too well in your scorecard, then vice versa. Stocks are going to come down, currencies are going to come down, bonds are going to move as well. Okay, so fundamental analysis, I'll do another video on that and where to find information as well and how markets move. We also talked a bit about seasonality, so the seasonality of markets. I think we discussed about gold in October because it's the most popular month for Indians, who are the biggest purchaser of gold, to get engaged. And so there's a big run and lots of demand for gold, and the price of gold generally goes up. So this is one of many seasonal trades that we can look at, and I think I'll do another video about seasonality as well because it's very important and great for identifying trades and ideas. Okay, the next step's a bit further study for you all. I would check out some news that you think would affect a market to discuss next week. We spoke about the election in the UK, for example, and how that might affect the markets. It gave when the result, as soon as the result came out, the market knew that okay, Labour's coming in, strong majority. We've got some certainty. Certainty is good for the markets. We saw a rally in the FTSE and the pound. You know, using that efficient market hypothesis theory. So the new news comes out, the market has to price it in. That's why we've got to follow the news. Okay, find anything you want to talk about, and we'll try and relate it to a market and if and when it should move the markets too. Okay. Watch the recap videos, this one that I'm sending out, obviously, and the further extra content that's going to be emailed over to you. And then join the Discord channel to stay informed and ask any questions. It's a super useful way to contact me and me to contact you all as a group instead of emailing. And then for next week, we want to use that tradingview.com. It's super important because it's got kind of your gateway into markets, I suppose. You'll view a chart of a market that interests you. So choose a market that you like the look of, and then locate at least one pivot. You know, we drew those horizontal lines for pinch points where market activity's been. I'm going to send a further video on how to do that too, and drawing a trend line. And then from there, try to identify a trade to either buy or sell your chosen market. Okay, right, and that was it for the recap. Thank you very much. Super grateful for you all turning up again, and looking forward to seeing you next week. Okay, take care and good luck, everybody.